Hello there, people of the internet. So guess what? Oh god, this is gonna rustle some jimmies. I was down at my local gun store the other day. Well, I say the other day, it's probably been like a month at this point. Probably like 6 months by the time you guys actually watch this video. But I was down at my local gun store and I was just browsing and perusing and doing the things that I do, and I saw this guy up front buying this SKS that was on consignment. And this SKS, I looked at it while he was up there. And it was just a run-of-the-mill Norinco SKS, nothing special about it, no unique markings, no unique anything on the thing. And so I was off doing whatever I was doing, and of course I was within earshot of what was going on. And the clerk up there says, all right, that'll be $975 and something and change. And I'm like, what the fuck? What else is he getting over there? Like, what's going on? What's going on over there? And I look over there, and all he's doing is getting himself an SKS. And whenever he walks out the door, I go up to the clerk, and I'm like, did that guy just spend $1,000 on a Chinese Norinco SKS? The clerk was like, yes, he did. And I was like, oh my god. Oh my, like what? That's why people are charging these prices, because there's people out there paying for this stuff. Just a run-of-the-mill Chinese SKS, right? $1,000. Holy mother of Jesus. Well, this guy actually ends up coming back into the store, and I ended up asking him, hey, why did you buy that SKS? I didn't want to be like, hey, you're an idiot for spending that much money on a freaking Chinese SKS. But I asked him, hey, what made you want an SKS? And this dude told me, well, I want an SKS for the end of the world, for SHTF purposes. In the event that something goes down, I want an SKS at my side. And I asked him, for that amount of money, you could get yourself a really decent AR, which is a much better, much more modern system. You can get yourself a budget AR that's probably going to work pretty damn well, along with accessories and ammunition and magazines and, sling, optic. You could get all sorts of stuff for that AR for the amount of money that you just spent on that SKS. And he was like, no, I want 7.62 by 39. So I asked him, hey, why not go with an AK-47? And he says, I want a military-made rifle, like made for military purposes. He doesn't like the civilian-made firearms. So he wanted a specifically military-made, military-grade firearm because he felt like it was going to be more durable. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of civilian stuff out there that is dramatically more durable than some of this military-made stuff. Now, the Chinese SKS, it's definitely a fantastic rifle, don't get me wrong. But my God, $1,000 for a Chinese SKS, I never thought I'd see the day, but I saw that with my own eyes, and I needed to sit down after that one. There was literally a chair right there. I just kind of sat down in it, and I was like, oh my goodness gracious. This guy could have gotten, for that amount of money, you could get yourself like a used Daniel Defense at that point. You get yourself a really good platform. So let's go ahead and talk about the pros and cons of the SKS compared to some other platforms that are out there on the market. So first off, we're going to go ahead and go with some of the pros. 7.62 by 39, excellent cartridge. It's a long barrel, good velocity out of that 7.62 by 39. I'm not quite sure what the velocity would be. I do have a chronograph. I'm going to chronograph a bunch of stuff later down the road. It's a very reliable system. It's been tested and proven and by the Vietnamese and by the Chinese, and all sorts of different countries out there have used this rifle for an incredibly long time. 7.62 by 39 for right now is definitely still available here in the United States. It's a simple system, a short stroke gas piston. It disassembles pretty damn easily. I don't like how whenever you disassemble it, there's some small pieces that would be pretty easy to lose. And if you're running corrosive ammunition, you got to disassemble the entire gas system and go through and do all sorts of scrubbing and whatnot. That's something that the AK platform definitely has over the SKS. Another thing I don't like, if you're going to rock the original style of magazines, you only have 10 rounds in this non-removable magazine. Now, there are aftermarket systems out there to get larger magazines, but guess what? If you do that, the odds of your SKS being reliable is dramatically less, especially if you are going to rock multiple magazines. If you get yourself one of those systems that you can change out the magazines become external, you can change them out and throw a new one in, the odds of your SKS running reliably dramatically drop. So there's a bunch of cons with this as opposed to like the AK-47. The AK-47 has an optics mount built right into the side of the receiver. There is no way to mount optics on this thing without some significant modification or taking taking off your rear sight, your iron sights, to throw on some kind of aftermarket Picatinny rail on this thing. And if you do that, then you don't have iron sights to be able to run with your rifle in the event that your optic goes down. Definitely not a good idea. Since you are carrying stripper clips for this thing, assuming that you're not carrying around a bunch of awkward magazines for this thing, if you're carrying stripper clips for this thing, then you could go ahead and carry more ammunition for the amount of weight than you would magazine ammunition. However, that ammunition is going to take up quite a bit of space. 30 rounds in SKS stripper clips are larger than 30 rounds inside of an AK-47 magazine. They're going to weigh less, but the actual bulk is going to be more. Combine that with the fact that after every 10 rounds you have to reload, and reloading the SKS via stripper clip can be a little bit on the tricky and difficult side, whereas reloading AK-47 magazines, they rock out, new one rock in, go around, charge the handle, assuming that you don't have an AK system that locks back. Then you have 30 rounds inside of your magazine before you have to reload again, as opposed to your 10 rounds inside of your SKS, assuming that you're not rocking an aftermarket system. Like I said, you don't want to do that. That diminishes the reliability of the platform tremendously. So less ammo, slower, and more difficult to reload. Your ammunition is going to take up more space inside of stripper clips than it would inside of magazines, but it is going to weigh less. So there are some pros, there are some cons. You can't mount optics to this thing. There's no rail systems, no anything like that. Whenever this had come out, optics weren't really a thing on the everyman's rifle. Like, everyman's rifle did not have an optic. They were definitely still rocking iron sights back whenever the concept of the SKS was being developed, including the AK-47. Actually, it wasn't until fairly recent times that optics became a normal thing on everybody's rifle. One of the bigger downsides of the SKS platform is that if you are rocking an original style SKS and not aftermarket mags, in order to reload this thing, yes, you can turn it around backwards and open up the magazine here and drop a couple of rounds into the rifle like this right here, and just kind of hope that they land in there properly like that, and then you can close it up like that, and then you can rack your system and send a couple of rounds downrange, assuming that it functions properly. There we go. Let's load this back in there and see if we can get this to fire this time. There we go, she fired that time. But yeah, you can awkwardly maneuver the SKS upside down, open this up, and drop some rounds in like that. Or you could, if this right here was out of ammunition, it locks open, the bolt locks open on an empty magazine. You can load in one round at a time or load in with stripper clips. But if you have rounds inside of your rifle, in order to top this thing off, you either have to open this up, hold it open while you load more ammunition in, or you have to turn the rifle upside down in order to access the magazine, drop more ammunition in like that. In either case, your rifle is going to be not functional while you are trying to reload it, even if there is ammunition inside of the system. If you have a round in the chamber, but you have the rifle upside down like this, I mean, I guess if you need to, if this was open like this and you absolutely needed to, you could pull the trigger, send a round downrange with your rifle upside down. But good luck with any kind of accuracy with that. The main thing I don't like about the SKS is that topping off the magazine is difficult, and whenever you are topping off the magazine, you are at a severe disadvantage in comparison to some other modern platforms. Things with external magazines like the AK or the AR, you can still hold your rifle and have a round in the chamber ready to go in the event that you need it. While you pop out the old mag and put a new mag in, you are still good to go and ready for defensive purposes. Whereas something like this, you either have to empty the chamber, or very awkwardly hold it upside down and finagle this magazine open while you drop more rounds in, like this right here. And then the rounds that you drop in, you just gotta kind of hope that they don't go in backwards like that. And this is definitely not an ideal setup. Not the most ideal of situations, but I mean, it does work sometimes. Look at that, I just sent a bunch of rounds downrange. Actually, I kind of prefer reloading the SKS like that. It's easier than loading it in through the top. Just from the bottom, drop them in. I like that. I actually really like that. I might implement that more often. if I'm comparing it to like an AR platform where bam, empty mag out, bam, new mag in, I automatically have another 30 rounds, then this is definitely not the ideal system. Now, with this being chambered in 7.62 by 39, yes, there's a lot of that here in the United States, but 5.56, 223 ammunition and 7.62 NATO/308 rifles, those are by far more numerous than 7.62 by 39 rifles. So if you're going to use a 7.62 by 39, you better make sure that you have plenty of stockpiles, because if things go down and we're not getting resupplied, yeah, you're going to be relying on your own supply. You're probably going to find quite a bit of 5.56, 223 ammo out there, and if you don't have a rifle that can run it, then hey, guess what? That stuff is pretty much worthless to you. Alright, well, I think I've covered all the basins that I want to cover. Of course, you do have the attached bayonet to your SKS if you have a bayonet on your SKS. This one obviously does not. So you don't have to worry about having a bayonet. However, the AK does take bayonets. A lot of your AKs out there, they got a bayonet lug on them. You just throw you an AK bayonet on there, and I prefer bayonets that are detachable so you can take it off and use it as a knife. More often than not, I feel like the bayonet would be used as a knife and as a tool way more than the actual bayonet, especially in modern combat. Bayonets are definitely an antiquated thing. It's good to have, but very rarely will you actually need it. And I know the AK bayonet, nice sharp edge, you got the serrated edge on the other side of the knife, which I have used regularly for all sorts of stuff. As a matter of fact, one of my main go-to knives is just a regular old Norinco surplus Chinese AK-47 bayonet. And it's also got a little wire cutter on it. I mean, it's a great little multi-tool, and it's something that you can take off of your rifle and just use as a regular knife. If you are not, you know, using the rifle, then you can still use that as a tool. And more often than not, you're going to be not using the rifle than you are going to be actually using the rifle. That's something that you cannot do with the SKS. Of course, you can take it off, the bayonet off, but you need tools and whatnot. And the bayonet for the SKS doesn't really have a handle on it, so you can't really use it as an appropriate knife, especially if you have just one of those spike bayonets as opposed to a bladed bayonet. Well, folks, thanks for watching. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video. It was definitely an interesting experience. I had fun. I had some surprises here. I really liked how it felt opening this thing up and just dropping some rounds in there and closing it back up and running the rifle like that. I think if I'm out here without stripper clips, I'm just going to start doing that, because that's a lot easier than opening this thing up and loading one round at a time. I like that. I like that better. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below. Do you have an SKS for practical purposes? If so, you know, what are your thoughts behind it? Or maybe you have one for not practical purposes, and maybe you have one just for plinking at the range like I do here. I know my go-to rifle for practical purposes is definitely the AR platform. In 223, 5.56, there's just so many benefits towards the AR as opposed to something like the SKS. Easier to reload, more ammunition inside of the magazine. You get yourself customizational options in terms of optics and what sort of sights that you want, and just if you have yourself a rail system like the Picatinny rail system on top of the receiver and the handguard, and then the M-locks all along, like you can't actively mount a flashlight to this thing without using zip ties and duct tape, or a laser light system. If you want to mount a laser to this thing, it's just a nightmare, not without significant modifications to the rifle as opposed to something like a modern style AR. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below. Link to all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. I think the battery's going out on my camera because it dies real easy, real quickly now. I'm going to go charge this thing. I'll see y'all in the next episode. I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.